It's Halloween at Dunder Mifflin.
Halloween should be a day in which we honor monsters and not be mad at each other.
Michael's upset with Daryl for going over his head with the big idea.
What is taking someone from behind?
And Jim and Pam are obsessed with finding out why Danny didn't call Pam back when they went on those dates years ago.
Oh my gosh, everyone keeps blowing that out of proportion. It's not even a history.
Exactly.
Hey, she had a nice time. It seems rude.
It's an episode that slowly builds and has a big payoff.
Oh, explosion! MacGruber!
Hey everyone, I'm Chris, and welcome to The Office Field Guide. I'm reviewing every episode of The Office ever, and today we're talking about Season 7's costume contest.
Serious?
Yeah.
We'll be talking about those costumes, some deleted scenes, which give some necessary context for some of the different bits in this one, and a deeper meaning in an episode which is begging for nostalgia. All that and more in today's Field Guide, so let's go.
Oh, here we go. I understand nothing.
I enjoy writing a lot, and it seems that the only time I ever have writer's block in this series is when I'm doing an episode that's either so weird I really don't know what to say about it, or an episode has so much going for it that I almost don't know where to start. Fortunately, Costume Contest is the latter of the two, and it's a testament to why I think Justin Spitzer has become a thing. While I always thought of him as discount Matt Damon, he went on from The Office to go write and create shows like Superstore and American Auto. People keep telling me to go watch Superstore, by the way, which, even though it's written by an Office guy and set in St. Louis, never even attempted it. American Auto, though, I did watch, and I kind of dug it. It had a Space Force thing going on in which tones and whatever would shift pretty severely episode to episode. There were a few I really enjoyed, and a few that I just stared at my reflection in the black mirror of my television and contemplated the meaning of life while not quite being entertained by the show. So, you know, highs and lows.
Could you, for once, just let us enjoy a party instead of making it about all your issues?
Right, so back on track. The Office is slowly prepping our souls to handle Michael's departure. And I love what they do in Costume Contest because it's so subtle. It's like when you're living your life, doing your own thing, and then you catch a whiff of something, or you hear a song maybe, or you see something, and it triggers a string of memories. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Like for me, when I'm driving and I smell a cornfield being harvested, it does take me back to being a kid and riding my dad's truck with the windows down. And I think what I appreciate about Costume Contest is how the writers tapped into that nostalgia and did so subtly, allowing us to relive these moments when they're triggered.
I've never really been a costume guy. Even when I was a kid, it just felt like something I was too old for. And then this morning, Pam hands me this little number.
Costume Contest, while showing everyone dressed up, has each character written as their true self. Take Andy, for example. After a lot of weirdness lately, he's back to being where he belongs, as a weird sidekick begging for attention.
This sucks for Jim, right? But it also sucks for us because we don't get invited to a ton of Halloween parties.
And I think the cold opening plays on this everything is different but still the same kind of theme.
I will see you all tomorrow.
Bye, Stanley. Love you.
Even Jim and Pam's plotline is on brand for them.
Okay. Well, excuse me.
It's funny to me, Pam's reaction tracks as very real and natural for her character. More on that later. But I've always felt Jim's reaction was completely out of character.
Oh, here's something. Why didn't you ever call Pam back?
Serious?
Yeah.
That is until I watched The Sting and Costume Contest 4 times in the last week, and I noticed something that I'm not really sure I ever had before. Now, disclaimer, I told this to my wife and she stared at me like I was an idiot, but when I explained it to her, she was like, I never really thought about it like that before. So let me know in the comments and settle this argument for me. There is a rivalry happening under the surface between Jim and Danny. In fairness, most of it coming from Jim. Considering this episode is driving at nostalgia, I think it's fair game to read all of Jim's story arc into what's happening here today. Jim is a guy who stayed at a dead-end job for years, who knows how many.
That timeline's messy.
Either way, the Stanford arc and the rest of season 3 is Jim's battle for his future, which he ultimately chooses Pam and Scranton instead of pursuing higher opportunities. The next few seasons play out as they do, marriage, baby. But we still see a glimpse of Jim's ambitions coming through. He knows he could perform at a higher level, but his desires are in conflict, so he's making do with what he can without disturbing what he prioritizes as most important. Enter Danny Cordray. All 6 foot of his dashing charms, he's a better salesman, obviously has quite the effect on the ladies.
Me.
Okay.
He owns a bar, which makes Oscar, the rational consumer, just lose his mind and respect.
Public school at exit 11.
That's a great name. You're hilarious. A+.
So,
But watching these episodes a lot lately, there are some subtle points of animosity. Jim says this during the sting.
Testify.
Okay, he's not that good looking.
Yeah.
I don't understand why everybody's obsessed
He
with
is
this.
that good looking.
He's very, very handsome.
Okay.
And we get a couple of hints here and there of Jim's overall vibe towards Danny, and then he just goes full weird.
I'd remember talking about Jim. That wasn't it.
Just tell her the real reason.
I do think Jim's questioning life at this point. Danny is everything that Jim thinks of himself as. Cool, chill, creative, successful. They dress the same. They both refuse to wear costumes. The real difference between them is that Danny passed on Pam, and Jim did not. And that's what's eating at Jim. That's why he corners Danny, that's why he won't take no for an answer, and that's why Danny's answer has the impact it does.
Who doesn't call a dork like that back?
Oh, wow.
Spinach in a can.
Jim, like a lot of us, gets distracted in life with ambition and the questions of what we should have done or what we should be or what we should still do yet in the future. And that's good and healthy to a degree, but maybe Jim looks at Danny as what he could have been if he hadn't gotten with Pam. But Jim's reaction to Danny calling Pam a dork reaffirms to her and to us that he believes he made the right choice all those years ago.
Aw, my hero.
Like, why else would he bring his baby into the office in the middle of the day? So while I think they underutilized Danny Cordray overall, it is a growth moment for Jim that I don't think I ever quite appreciated until now. It does make me wonder if some of this was left on the cutting room floor, maybe in an attempt to make Jim not look petty or pedantic towards Danny. But we do know for sure that there is a ton of stuff that was cut from this episode, which gives context to some of the bits that seem out of the blue. I'm gonna see if I can get my hands on those while I'm editing this video. The first gives more context to this bit that goes nowhere in this episode.
We need to strangle Daryl's idea.
That's a reminder that there's still a serial killer out there strangling people to death in the hill country of Scranton.
To my chickens, I'm the Scranton Strangler.
But that bit is fleshed out in a deleted scene which shows Dwight and Michael trying to destroy Daryl's idea by having a fake fight. Another deleted bit is Dwight sucking up to Daryl, which gives more context to this fan favorite moment.
Let's just say I saw exactly what the two of you wanted me to see. I know how to sit on a fence. I can even sleep on a fence. The trick is to do it face down with the post in your mouth.
And there's some deleted content on why some folks want this coupon booklet so desperately. By the way, it's really weird I had costume contest this week because our waffle truck just got hit up for one of those booklets asking if we'd consider putting a promotional coupon in their book.
I mean, I don't even want to give Pam a compliment because she's so ugh, but she did a good job.
You know, speaking of food, hey everyone, while I was editing this episode, I happened to be in New York City, and last year when I said I didn't like bagels, people lost their freaking minds and told me I needed to go and get bagels in Manhattan. So let's go to the best place that I know to get bagels in this city. I could think of no better place to have bagels than Panera Bread. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm not sure the geolocation makes a difference. Okay, back on track. We know Oscar won the contest, and I get a kick out of why.
If I have to vote for someone, I don't want it to be someone who can beat me.
I'm a Nader guy. Best Edward James Olmos costume I've ever seen.
But let's have a quick contest of our own. Let's have a costume comment contest. Vote in the comments. Who do you think won this costume contest? Michael is McGruber. This one hits on the well-established love that Michael has for SNL.
Oh no! Mr. Bill! Oh, SNL.
And he does have a costume change halfway through.
Warehouse! house. I'm cool. I'm hip and I'm jive. But I don't care about nobody. Do you know who I am? Happy Halloween, jerk!
And these two black streaks on the back of Michael's neck, they tell a story. I'm not really sure which one, though. Did he try to put Sharpie on his face to do blackface and then he quit while he was ahead?
Michael, this is a bad idea.
What's a bad idea?
Or maybe just as likely, there's another piece of deleted content. Like Michael went down and got his hands greasy stealing Daryl's shirt from the warehouse.
Dressing up as somebody, I mean, when has that ever worked for you?
Never!
Either way, moving on, Pam is olive oil, or at least half of Dwight's 11-foot mother.
Looks like someone decided to dress up as old Dwight Schrute's mom.
What?
You're only 1/3 as beautiful and about half her height.
Jim is Popeye, and while Gumby has a better body than Jim back then, Krasinski doesn't need fake muscles now to pull off Popeye.
Delivery's all wrong. He's butchering it.
Ryan is Justin Bieber, I think.
Who is Justice Beaver?
It's a crime-fighting beaver.
Gabe is Lady Gaga.
Has anyone started calling you Gabe Wad yet?
Not here, no.
Andy and Meredith are dressed up as vampires from True Blood.
How many freaking vampires am I supposed to care about these days?
Stanley's a samurai. Kevin is Michael Moore, and I always want to read into this. Creed continues his theme of being good as dead. Kelly is Snooki, ? And then maybe a character from Candyland, but I've also seen it listed as Katy Perry. Aaron is wearing a spooky mask, which always feels a little layered. Like wearing a scary mask like this as your costume to your job at an office just doesn't seem very easy. She bears through it though. But it also seems to show a lack of creativity mixed with an immature idea of what adults might wear to a Halloween costume party.
The statement that I am making, Oscar, is I kind of look like Michael Moore.
Either way, Aaron's arc almost takes a very sharp, dark turn into the too dumb to live zone.
She hasn't moved in a while.
Aaron!
2. I got 2. I ate 2 whole apples.
Back on track, Angela's the Linux mascot, and then swaps it up and gets something from the same place Elizabeth rents from.
Very cool you went back and got your degree.
Toby's a hobo, which is a bold play considering the last person who dressed up as one. Phyllis is probably Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Oscar's dressed up as Disco Stew, and then the rational consumer. Packer reached real deep to come up with a stirring commentary on religious dogma and the duality within all of us by embodying a living oxymoron.
Lame.
Bob Vance is there too. Wonder if he got any deleted content. I'm guessing he's either Dirty Harry or maybe Psycho Cop out of uniform. Personally, I'm gonna give the prize to Gabe. I think it's pretty on brand, and we all know this guy who goes way too far for his costumes. Maybe that's where Dwight gets his inspiration for next year. Okay, but with that, let's dive into the deeper meaning.
What does a bean mean?
Someone please explain it to Cat.
If we take everything I talked about with Jim and Pam earlier into consideration and tie that together with the conflict between Daryl and Michael, and then layer on the costume contest with a dumb prize, I think the clearest message we get from Costume Contest is know who you are and be about what you're about.
Is becoming CEO of this company your a cappella group?
Michael's upset that Daryl went over his head. His feelings are probably an amalgamation of his insecurities over his managerial skills, his chain of command being broken, and probably knowing how Michael feels about his coworkers. A sense of betrayal he feels over a friend going behind his back on something. This makes Michael question himself and his worth.
Dropping bombs, right? This really make you think, Michael.
Stop it.
Daryl, on the other hand, Daryl's regretting ever dealing with any of this. Moving from one collar to another is a whole different world.
Sometimes it seems like it was better down in the warehouse, you know?
And it's pretty easy to question yourself once you've chased that greener grass, just to find out it's just grass.
You think that I would let this happen again? No way, Jose!
Jim's self-doubt we already talked about, and Pam's clearly going through some stuff here too.
Well, excuse me.
I haven't dated anyone but my wife since 2004, so, you know, I don't really have a personal point of reference for any of this. But if someone doesn't call you back and just leaves you wondering what's up, I'm certain that, you know, can build a lot of questions within your spirit.
Except where Juliet doesn't have that great a time and Romeo doesn't call back after 2 dates.
Yikes. All of this sits on top of the rat race that is the costume contest. Everyone putting their best appearance forward to prove their worth in order to win a prize that's practically worthless.
You'd have to spend $200,000 on crap you don't even need to get $15,000 worth of benefits.
And ironically, the one who wins the race is the only one who sees through the facade in all of it. We even have an example of someone forsaking their deeply held convictions just to win that worthless prize.
Let's not pretend to be unaware of what sells in this office.
It's a very human episode. We have a lot of characters facing decisions they've made in the past, all of which have lingering impacts today. Now, everything resolves really cleanly in this episode, but real life doesn't always seem so tidy. To me, Jim and Daryl, they're the heroes of this tale. Their hero's journey brought them through their self-doubts and built a more firm foundation for them to grow from. Daryl's cleared of any doubts he had about his career ambitions.
Nah, I got some work to do. I do got big plans at this company.
And Jim's cleared of any jealous comparisons he had with Danny. Beyond them, I guess Pam's fine with being a dork, as long as it's with Jim. And Michael's arc resolves a little less impactfully for me. But he does learn to cope with a new normal, and his willingness to actually find common ground with someone he disagrees with definitely earned a level up. But with that, let's rate this thing.
This is the worst!
Okay, so the cold opening.
Stanley just drank OJ out of my mug and didn't seem to realize that it wasn't his hot coffee.
Is there no limit to what Stanley won't notice cold opening?
Satchel. No, starts with an H.
Handbag.
Thank you.
I love it. It's a fantastic bit. Everyone seems to be having so much fun, and it's just smile-inducing. And I don't know if it makes it any better or worse, but in my headcanon, Stanley is well aware of what everyone's doing. He just wants to do his puzzles and waste the clock away. And in the meantime, he gets to force everyone else to work harder while they're testing his limits. Either way, there is a dreamlike quality to this one, and I really enjoy it. 5 out of 5 for me. That horse is not Little Sebastian, by the way. As for the costume contest episode, I'm really not gonna drag this out. It's a great episode, extremely clever writing.
Like freaky good.
Might have to deduct a point for, you know, having way too much content. It's begging for a superfan episode, but Kevin's crying sequence alone would bump this up any deficit. All up, this is a high quality episode of The Office. It's one of the best Halloween episodes, and it's one of the best holiday episodes. Further, it's one of the last regular episodes of The Office, which features Michael before the season and the series takes a sharp turn. It's like that theme of things are different but the same is very much on purpose to prep us into thinking that The Office is going to be different but the same once Michael is gone. Either way, Costume Contest is a great episode. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Okay, so next up on the list is the christening, which I only remember 3 things from. The scones, Toby won't go into the church, and the fact that the camera crew was willing to join Michael and Andy on a trip to Mexico out of the blue. So join me next week for that one. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.